Hi, scholars. It's Miss Imani here. And I want to tell you all a little something about me. Is that all right? So, Miss Imani loves hugs. They're like one of my favorite things. Like if someone feels bad or if I feel bad, there's nothing like a hug. I hug my stuffed animals, I hug my family members. When we were in school buildings, I'd give my students hugs. But right now, it's really hard to give people hugs because the first priority right now is that we have to be safe. And so I totally understand that. So you can give air hugs, but they're not the same. So Miss Imani tried to fix her problem. And I was like, if I can't hug people because I want to be safe, maybe I can hug something else. And you know what I tried to hug? I tried to hug a cactus. I know, it's a little weird, but I just was like, everything wants love, plants too. And when I tried to hug the cactus, it got a little prickly. I got a little hurt, and I was like, this isn't really fun. So I was like, maybe nobody hugs a cactus. Maybe they shouldn't. In today's Read Aloud Scholars, it's actually called Nobody Hugs a Cactus. And in this read aloud, written by Goodrich, we're going to look and see if there are other reasons why nobody hugs a cactus. If we look at the little cactus here, maybe he doesn't want to be hugged. But we're going to find out why as we look in this book. Are you ready? Let's go. Nobody Hugs a Cactus, written by Goodrich. In today's read aloud, we're going to be looking at the different story elements. So we're going to be keeping track of the characters, which are the people, places, and things that say something or do something in a story. So we're going to be keeping track of who the characters are in our story. So remember, they are the people, animals, or things. So I'm going to draw a little animal or things. So even like a little robot. Doot, doot, beep, boop. That say something or do something in our story. We're going to keep track or look for the setting. The setting is where, so the location, or when, so that could be the time, or if it's in the morning, or if it's at night, or when a story happens, and that is the setting, where or when a story happens. We're going to also look to see if we can figure out what is the problem. The problem is what goes wrong in a story. It's what a character wants, what they need, but they don't have. The problem is like a lock without a key. Can't get in. So we're going to be looking at the problem, and then we're also going to be looking for what was the solution. So the solution is how the problem is fixed. So like how a key fixes a lock, we're going to be looking for the problem and the solution. The last thing we're going to be looking for, or we're going to be keeping track of, is the plot. That means we're going to be keeping track of what happens in the beginning. The beginning, the B is for beginning. The middle, so the second part, the middle, and the end. What happens in the beginning, the middle, and the end. And this is our plot. As learners and scholars, we have to keep track of all of these things when we read. So to review, Nobody hugs a cactus. We're going to keep track of the characters, the people, animals, and things that say something, make a little mouth so you can see that they're saying something, or do something in a story. We're going to keep track of the setting of the story. Where does the story take place, or when? Morning, night, time. We're going to look for the problem. What goes wrong in the story? What does the character want, need, but they don't have? And the solution. How does the story get fixed? And then we're going to look at the plot. Can we tell the story in order? Do we remember what happens in the beginning? Do we remember what happens in the middle? And do we remember what happens in the end? All right, here we go. Nobody hugs a cactus. Nobody Hugs a Cactus. Written by Goodrich. Hank lived in a pot. The pot sat in a window. The window looked out at the empty desert. It was hot, dry, peaceful, and quiet, just the way Hank liked it. So there's the desert, there's Hank. So if we're thinking, what do we know now? What would Hank be considered? What would Hank be considered right now? Yes, Hank is a character. He is a thing in our story. And if we look out to the desert is our setting. It is where our story is taking place. All right, let's keep going. But every now and then, somebody would interrupt Hank's peace and quiet. "Hi, Hank," Rosie the tumbleweed called out. "Isn't it a beautiful day?" Hank ignored her. He just wanted to be left alone. Rosie is a new character. "Okay, so long," said Rosie cheerfully, and she tumbled away. Hank was happy again. But just when he was beginning to relax, "Hello!" shouted a tortoise. Has our setting changed? Nope, so our setting is the same. But we have a new character. "Private property!" yelled Hank. "Keep out!" The tortoise was so frightened, he hid in his shell. Hank was still yelling at the tortoise when a jackrabbit dashed by. "Hiya, Prickles," she shouted. "My name isn't Prickles," Hank yelled back, "and stay out of my yard." So it seems like Hank does not like visitors, and he doesn't really do a good job of telling people what he doesn't like. "Tumbleweeds, tortoises, jackrabbits, what's next?" said Hank. He's not happy. A coyote came loping by. "No dogs allowed," Hank yelled. "I'm not a dog," said the coyote, "and you are as prickly on the inside as you are on the outside." Before Hank could yell back at the coyote, a cowboy strode past. "Keep off my grass!" shouted Hank. "What grass?" said the cowboy. Seems to me. Somebody needs a hug. Too bad nobody hugs a cactus. Let's see. "Hi," said a lizard. "Who invited you?" said Hank. "And just in case you're wondering, I don't want a hug." "That's good," said the lizard, "because I don't want to give you one." Then he skittered away. I wonder, what could Hank, the character that we're learning about, what could he be thinking right now? What could he be thinking? He was so upset. He wanted all these people to leave him alone. And then that cowboy said nobody hugs a cactus. And now the lizard has said it also. And Hank has a different expression. An owl landed on the roof. "If you're looking for a hug," said Hank, "well, I guess I could give you one." Looks like something's changing with Hank. And you know what else is changing, scholars? Did you guess it? Our setting. Because it was in the day, and now it's in the night. We're at a different time. Our location didn't change, but our time did, when our story is taking place. Let's see what the owl says. "Ooh, me?" said the owl. "You must be joking." And for the first time, Hank began to feel a little lonely. So scholars, what could be Hank's problem right now? What is something that he wants? Think about how he's feeling, what he might be thinking. It looks like, based on this and what he might be thinking, he's feeling a little lonely. And so something that he wants is a friend or someone to want to give him a hug. Let's keep reading. The next morning, Hank was feeling more sad on the inside than prickly. Maybe a hug wouldn't be so bad after all. So yeah, scholars, it looks like Hank wants a hug. The wind began to pick up. An old cup blew by and stuck to Hank's face. His arms were too short to get it off. "Great," said Hank. So now, oh my goodness, so now Hank's problem has gotten worse. His problem has gotten worse and we don't have a solution. Oh no. After a while, Rosie came bouncing by. "I'll get it off you, Hank," she shouted, and she jumped up to knock the cup off Hank's face. Then she tumbled away. Hank didn't have time to thank Rosie. He felt bad about all the other times he had been so rude to her. He came up with a plan. Ooh, what does he do? Oh, scholars, let me rewind real quick. What did Rosie just do by knocking the cup off? Right, she found Hank his solution. He had a problem and she was his solution. Just want to make sure we got that part. So now he's coming up with a plan. He decided to grow the best flower he could and then give it to Rosie as a thank you gift. It took days, but at last it was ready. He couldn't wait for Rosie to pass by again. When at last she finally did come bouncing back, Hank held out the flower. "Look, Rosie," he said, "I grew it just for you." There's Rosie, and he's so excited. Rosie was so surprised, she jumped up and gave Hank a great big hug. Rosie's giving us another solution. It felt so nice, Hank didn't want to let go. And as things turned out, he couldn't. Rosie and Hank had become stuck together. But they didn't care. After all, it's better to be stuck in a hug than stuck all alone. The end. So scholars, do you think you'd be able to retell the plot of this story? Do you remember what happened first in the beginning? Do you remember what happened second or next in the middle? Do you remember how the story ended? When you retell, make sure that you include the characters in the story. What were the different characters that we met? The problem and solution. What was Hank's problem? How did it get solved? And even remember the setting. Where and when does our story take place? If you forget things, You can always go back and watch this video to remember what happened. Until next time. You see, scholars, Miss Imani wasn't completely tripping on giving a cactus a hug, because if it was Hank, he might have appreciated it later in the story. So, do you think that you can tell the plot of this story? Do you think that you can retell the story and remember all of the parts? If you can, I can't wait to hear it. You can write it, you can record it, you can tell a family member, retelling the story and including all of the parts like the setting, the problem solution, the characters, helps you grow as a reader, and it gives you the confidence to share some of your favorite books with others. Until next time, bye!